Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement, where today I make a new best friend. I interview Mike Disney. He brings that big gourd energy. Check it out.
Good people all around. The whole place was a good weekend.
I really enjoyed myself, and I'm hoping that it happens again. I'm hoping that we're at the end of coronavirus enough to still make it happen. But I'm not holding my breath anymore for anything.
No.
It's 2020's. 2020's been canceled. We'll come back next year.
2020. So much for the double crit year of the double crit. You know what I mean? This is right. double shit, more like it. Oops.
I think that's like the perfect way to start this interview. I've already started recording, and I love the idea of the double shit start.
It's crazy, man. It's been a year already. Everything that's been going on. It's been nuts.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. I am cautiously optimistic, but also I am not holding my breath, because every time I'm like, oh, you know what? It can't get any worse. This year's like, hold my beer.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
I was just warming up.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? It's just better to sit back, work on your hobbying, and do the best.
I love it. Mike Disney, thank you so much for joining me today in the Murder Basement.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate you taking your time. It is the one time I have ever had an artist be so open and flexible with their time. I thought you were kind of dodging me. I was like, oh no, he's just being really sweet. And whenever you want, buddy. I'm used to being I have a very strict amount of time, and if you don't conform to that,
Nah, I'm not I don't know. I deal with, I like to have other people comfortable when they're dealing with me, because I know that I can be not only a son of a bitch, but a handful at times too. So, I like to be people, I like to have people prepared, So.
Well, I think my first real introduction to you, I knew that you were going to be at Warfare Weekend. Somehow we missed each other, because I hung out at the Creature Caster booth the entire weekend as well. And if I wasn't there, I was in the hobby area, trying to paint with, loud talking going on all the time.
Oh, loud talk, very loud talk. Let me just say one thing while you say that, while we don't forget. And
sure.
When you say that, you have to be talking about the same table that I am referring to right now. It was as soon as you entered the hobby room, right past the refreshment little thing, and that table right there where they were doing the demos. Holy cow.
They were so loud.
I thought I was loud.
Right? Well, I put in my earbuds, and I'm used to hanging out with my friends in a group hobby environment and painting, that's such a cool thing to do. And the dude was just and if you roll the die, it was and he was doing his best Billy Mays the entire time. I remember putting in Mr. Bungle, California, just because I was I need something that is the exact opposite of what's happening over there.
That is the best description of, if people understood what we were talking about right now, they would know. Only the people at Warfare Weekend know, if they watch this video, know what I'm referring to right away, because that table was ridiculous.
And I'm thrilled. I'm all about salesmanship. I'm all about getting out there, but also you could hear them in the main room where there was 1,000 people playing War Machine. You could hear him promoting his he's kept on talking about the acrylic pieces for this game, and I remember just being holy moly.
Well, we were in there even during the Judgment tournament. It was crazy. He was super loud, super loud,
super loud, dude. And that Judgment tournament was one of the coolest things because you had like guns sitting there refereeing the entire thing and
Yes.
running demos the entire time. I
Yes.
was like, I didn't know anything about Judgment. I went upstairs and bought like almost $200 worth of models because I was like,
which is easy to drop on Judgment.
Very
and they
easy,
were
yeah.
every time I tried to buy something, Heath, they were sold out.
Dude, I feel you. I
was like, what's going on here?
The cool thing is they just, I don't know if you saw it, but they just had their price drop. And so all their models are a little bit more affordable, especially for us here in the States. And that is very exciting.
To me, those models was worth the price anyway. I roomed with Andrew Galea in last Adepticon, of course, not the one that was canceled. He was going to be my roommate again, but the one before that. So, and I had the pleasure of seeing all his models, his collection, what people have sent him, and he had them with him. He plays with those things, and had the pleasure of just sitting in that room and watching him and Genuine and Rayner and Flick and so many others play Judgment all weekend long. That game is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And the models are gorgeous. Gorgeous models.
To call them game pieces is almost like underselling them because they're so good.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Beautiful pieces. Collector's game is what that is. That is a board gamer's you know what I'm trying to say. That's your epic level, upper echelon board game right there.
Well, and the fact that they've managed to do it, with Kickstarter support and then like a really fervent community of like just continue to back them is really cool. I always love backing the underdogs, and when I see a game like that, I'm just like, holy crap, like you got something special. So.
Oh yeah, and as for the underdogs, that's where it is. Underground music, underground games, underground artists, all that stuff. That is where your inspiration. You want to dig deep and find gold.
Right.
The saying goes for everything. It's not only literal for minerals, but it's literal for any of that art, music, all that. You got to dig deep if you want to find that true stuff.
Well, and the fact that like this hobby, community, while it's an industry, it's such like a cottage built industry where like you do have people that it's their passion project. And like, I know the Judgment guys have famously said they have never made a cent from this, that every dime that's been made, they pumped right back into it. And that right there, like, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because like you would love to see them do better, but also like that sort of dedication, man, that's crazy good. I love it.
Those guys, let me tell you about passion. When you see those two brothers and they're playing their game, because I've seen both of them play the game in person.
Yeah.
Those two, the amount of passion and love that they have put in to that game is unlike anything else I've ever seen before. Shy of Reaper. I've met everybody in there, and I'm not saying this because they sponsor me, but they are passionate about their fans. They're passionate about their community. They're passionate. They are a family-oriented business, 100%. And I can't help but back that. How can you not stand behind people that are like that?
Well, and especially since like you can say whatever you want about their paints, you can say whatever you want about like their older models. They're a company that continues to push themselves to do better, and their paints keep on getting better, and their models keep on getting better, and they do those crazy ass Kickstarters once every year and a half that like break the internet. Like they're a company that I am I feel bad that I didn't give them as much credit as I should have starting out, because they are a really cool company.
I have been a fan of Reaper for a long, long time, way before they sponsored me, for many, many, many years, just because they have always, in people have, I think their paints are a hidden treasure, honestly, especially their MSP range, because they have triads. And let me tell you, the triads for people that are starting out that aren't wet blending or anything, but I mean, for wet blending, they're beautiful too. I use them for that. But
Sure.
but for people starting out, those are beautiful. There's no guessing. You've got your shadows, your base coat, and your highlight. Boom, right there.
Yep.
You don't need any else. You want your color, you go on Reaper website, you buy it. There's the triad right there.
I think that the triad aspect is easily one of the coolest things that they've done, because it just, you're looking at it and you're like, how I mean, especially for like I am not a painter to start. Like that was never anything that was ever nurtured in my family. My brother got all of that stuff. I went hard after music. And so in my adult life, I feel like I'm regaining all of my childhood, the things that I wish that I could have done. And so when I see, a company doing something to make the hobby more accessible to new people and give them like a fighting shot, I instantly get behind that. I think that is so cool.
They're fantastic people, and it just, you said a mouthful. You said everything I was going to say. So, so, and I will always have their back, always, because I know I've seen the brothers, Ed and Dave. I've met them. I've talked with them several hours in their office. They are some of the nicest guys you'd ever talk to, and they listen to you. It's not just in one ear and out the other. They're busy as hell, and they took the time to sit in there and listen to my big butt go on and on about whatever,
Right.
and ask them. So that, to me, earned my respect 100%. They
Yeah.
had the patience to deal with me for more than an hour.
That's awesome. So how did you get into art? Like what was your intro into this? Because you do much more than just paint minis. You are the real deal, the whole package, the total package, as they say.
Man, thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. I'll tell you the truth. I have been drawing for as long as I can remember. My mom and them used to tell me stories of me with crayons. I wasn't a very loud kid. They said I was very quiet, and the only thing I would do was I like to sing, but I wouldn't sing. I would just make noises, and I would draw on the walls. Like, if I was quiet for any amount of time, I had crayons, and the wall had a fresco. You know what I mean? It had some kind of design of aliens with cowboys and UFOs and, Indian. It was crazy. So then, and it's just gone from there. I've always loved Dungeons and Dragons. The first time I found one of the books, my grandmother actually bought me these books off of a truck. It was a Schwann's truck. And Schwann's, I don't know if you remember them. They used to deliver. I think they still have those trucks, actually.
They
still
do.
Good. Okay, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
they used to sell Dungeons and Dragons, and this was the prison edition because you weren't allowed dice in prison. So they had chits on the back, numbers 1 through 20 on the back, and you cut them out and you put them in a little thing, mix them up, and that's how you get your number, because you weren't allowed dice in prison. So that's what they got off the boat. That's what they got. So I had the prison edition of the Dungeons and Dragons, the blue book and the red book, and when I saw the artwork in there, it was next level. You know what I mean? I had never seen anything like that, even though now I look at that artwork and I'm like, woof, but
there's something about it, though, man.
There's
like,
something about it. It's that nostalgia. It takes me right back to that very first moment, right in front of the UHV TV,
clicking.
That was my first intro, and I've drawn ever since. And comics, of course. Comics were a big thing too. Avengers, X-Men, That was huge. Spider-Man, you know, I remember seeing Todd McFarlane's art for the first time on Spider-Man, and I'd never seen anything like that before. And I was instantly,
Right.
the way he drew women too was what really got me. The way he did the noses was just a little button, and they were just so stylish with the long curly hair. It was just that really. He was a big inspiration on me. And Conan the Barbarian, Savage Sword of Conan, those magazine style comic books, those were a huge inspiration too. So.
It's a really interesting thing because, like, you know, Todd McFarlane, I think, you know, he's ran the gamut of being like the golden boy to kind of the butt end of the joke, you know, because he, you know, like the Todd McFarlane company kind of lost sight of what made them, you know, so like popular. But like I remember like early on, the early Spider-Man, you know, just the difference in how they would ink things. There was so much more drama and it was so much more evocative. And like the way he wrote, he was unafraid to go places.
He
And
was
so,
emotional, man, and he would hit you. That was art. What is art supposed to do, Heath?
well, if it doesn't elicit an emotional response, then it's just something you hang on the wall.
Something
You,
you hang on the wall.
you got it from Home Goods, and it just is filling a space.
That's right. So, and back then, I mean, I'm talking about, you know, this is when McFarlane had. This was when it was emotion. This is before Spawn.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
the Torment Spider-Man years, hot damn.
Really good stuff. That's good stuff. I could talk about that. We could have a whole show on that. You know, I love that. But yeah, those right there, those are really inspirational moments seeing that, because I used to trace the hell out of his work. And, you know, it was just, for a young me, that was it right there. And of course, Dungeons and Dragons just kept growing at that time too. So I was constantly getting books from my friends, or the library would have D&D back then, and I'd check those books out and other books and just go from there. And then I discovered, you know, of course, Grenadier miniatures, and that went on from there. But I really wasn't miniature painter until several years later. So
I wish I could have been around for the whole Grenadier thing, because that sounded so cool and really like a pinnacle point in a lot of hobbyists' career. Like the GW like idea, like when I was talking with Vince, you know, he was talking, it was like base coat, wash, and finish was like the 3 steps that they told you how to finish everything. And you know, in the heavy metal style, yeah, right, and it wasn't even a wash, right.
Damn old paint.
Yeah. The idea of, you know, everything had to be this like heavy metal look, you know, the Grenadier stuff was totally different, and it had so much more artistic style to it. I wish I could have seen that, because yeah, like I'm actually a really new miniature painter. I have only been doing it for 2 years. And
wow.
Right. It's fucked up.
No, not at all. That's awesome. I mean, I remember when I first started painting and seeing all the stuff, and even back then, and it was not even a fraction of what it is right now. People are like, miniatures? What do you mean? Like, my grandma, she's got the figurines? Is that what you're talking about? Like, yeah, no, screw your Hummels. It ain't this, you know? It's not this. Get out of here. No, people didn't, or their toys or their dolls. You know what I mean? People didn't know. Right. So miniatures now, it's just, even now, it's still, in the art world, it's still one of the smallest genres, but still, it's getting big, real big.
Yeah, we are definitely at the precipice of something I don't think anybody's really ready for yet. And like, I think these smaller companies are they're either going to get crushed by the waves, or they're going to rise to the top and have something like really good happen. So I'm really excited to see this next step.
Well, we're seeing it happen right now. There's 2 words: 3D printing.
Right.
We're seeing all these beautiful sculptors and, you know, and all these talented people that are like, you know what? I'm sick of working for the man. He's bringing me down. I got to do what he does. I want to make what I want to make. I got this 3D printer right here. I've got this beautiful program. I have the skills. I'm going to do it. Bam, they're doing it. Look at Artesian Guild. You know what I mean?
Right.
They are blowing it up. I love those minis. You know, Cast and Play, another example. You know, all these beautiful companies that are, you know, putting out these gorgeous miniatures, and that's just to name two out of several thousand,
Right.
you know, that are just popping up. So
It's a little overwhelming. I had to thin down the herd of my like Patreon backing because like I had Artisan Guild and I had Titan Forge and I think My Mini Monsters is one that I still support because their stuff is really it's like more angular and distressed feeling.
I
I just
like characteristic. Yes, very
yeah.
stylistic. Yes.
Yeah, the new ritual casting. I don't know if you've seen any of their busts.
Oh, yes, sir, I
Oh, oh.
have. You're looking at an addict, Heath, okay? Let's just put it that way. I've got a problem. Or was this an intervention? Did somebody call you?
Dude,
You know what
I
mean?
know I know the feeling. Holy shit.
It's bad. It's really bad. Save me, please. The only thing I'm thankful for is that I know sculptors and people that I'm actually trying to learn ZBrush at the time too. So, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've molded out a couple of things. I've got a giant spider, this big dude with some weird fingers and toes, but I'm learning it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully I get some good stuff done, but knowing some of these people in the industry and seeing what they're doing and seeing where it's going, it's really, it is there. We are on the precipice of something huge here that's going to bust loose. And like you said, people are either going to rise up or they're going to go,
Yeah,
boom,
crash and burn. Like
crash and burn.
GW will never crash and burn,
Nope.
but I am very excited to see how they respond to it because out of all of the companies, while like GW just recently like kind of reinvigorated my like love for them as a company, you know, coming out against racism the way they were and being really unapologetic, like I did not expect that from a company that has kind of been super tone deaf in the past.
Yeah.
You know, to see that happen, but like they also like, you know, still try to push Finecast as like a thing that is totally acceptable to sell. And you know, it's really interesting to see like kind of a warring company on the inside. Like I don't know how they're going to navigate this new water, you know. It's really interesting.
Finecast always happens to come up into some conversation at one point. It's like it's the corona of miniatures, really. It is bad. Wow.
I was in a like trapped under plastic group on Facebook, just watching people talk, and it's an excellent like and really an excellent community. They seem to be like not super like on fire, you know, like they're pretty supportive people. And somebody was like, I think I got my first counterfeit GW piece, and he showed, like put photos of his Finecast brews, and we're like, no, dude,
that's
GW. That's GW. And it's so
amazing
weird
to see new people come in that haven't seen or know what fine crap is. You know what I mean? When that stuff first came out, the amount of heat and hate that was going around for that stuff, boy, woof, man, yeah. It was next level. Like people were actually like not even buying GW stuff anymore just because of that product right there. You know, it was like when they killed the squats off. You know, like screw GW, I'm done with this.
Right. It's I mean they're such a weird company, and like I try not to be so like micro focused on what they do because like this hobby is so much more broad than Warhammer and you know and 40K, but
way more broad.
It's so hard not to mention them when you start talking about the future, because like if they decide to do a hard shift, they could like tank a ton of companies if they wanted to. They have the resources, and I think that that's one of the nice things about them is that they aren't as predatory as I was expecting. Like, because if I was GW, I would get rid of Forge World and I would fucking buy Creature Caster and be like, make my shit. and like make $1 million off of it, you know, and be like, here you go, this is what you're doing now. And they haven't done that, and that's something that I'm like so glad, because now we have something like Creature Caster out there that is pushing the boundary with every release, and it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there that are just beautiful miniatures, you know what I mean? But GW, they're like the Sony, they're the Disney of the miniature market, really, if you will. There's really no other way to describe them. They're a powerhouse. They're the main powerhouse, and I'd like to see how they respond to all this 3D business that's going on. I wonder what's going on in those offices right now. I'd like to be a fly on that wall, you know. So
yeah. So you have done sculpting, because I think my first, even though I knew that you were doing going to be at Warfare Weekend, I didn't take any of your classes. Very sorry about that.
No problem. It's okay. I had a good time regardless, you know what I mean? It was a good time. So
I took one with Chris Surrey, and it was me and 2 other people, and we're just talking about just straight up color theory, and like, that was a really good class for me to take. And I felt really bad for Chris, because like, he was prepared to have like more people sign up, and it was the 3 of us, and like we got down and dirty in it for his 2 hours. It was great.
that's a good class though, because it's personal and you're all right there. There's not like a million people to get attention on, you know. And I taught one class the entire time, 2 students. I had 4, but 2 of them didn't show up, so
right,
they weren't there. So the 2 students were right there. Both of them were female. They were just amazing, real friendly. You know, it was kind of weird because it's like, okay, well, you know,
all right,
here we go. You know, 2 people, but they had no idea what they were doing. They'd never touched green stuff before, but when they left, they had made a little skull. They had made a couple of things, actually, some wings. I think a couple other things we did. We did a little bit. We repaired some miniatures too. I brought a Reaper miniature with us that you had to put together. And when you put it together, it had some gaps. So I explained to them how to use green stuff for gap filling. Easy, basic stuff.
Sure.
You know, so, and they had a great time. I had a great time. I had a bag full of candy. They went home with half of it. So, you know.
I think that's really awesome. I think my next real introduction to you was during the Reaper Kickstarter, and stretch goal was hit where the Overgord was brought in, and like, I was like, oh, that's cool. And one of my friends is part of like a Discord group, and they were talking about this thing, and they were like, yeah, well, you know, I just need the Overgord to be here soon. That model's got big gourd energy. And like, it turned into like a thing where they were like, you know, bring the big gourd energy. And so like, she would always send me these like screen caps of people using that as like their like motivational, like, you got to bring that big gourd energy today.
This is the first time I've heard this.
it was awesome. I thought that was so cool. And so the first time I hopped in your Twitch, I was like, Mike Disney brings the big gourd energy, and literally somebody subscribed and the Overgord came up on the screen, and I was like, hot damn, that was perfect timing.
That's pretty good story. I have not heard this big gourd energy thing before. That brings a smile to my face and warms my heart, man. That's really, really cool. That's what I wanted, you know. That's the whole thing. I didn't create the Overgord. I drew him. The community created him. You know, the viewers of the stream created him. It was, you know what Inktober is, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, sure.
Okay, so that's what we were doing. It was October 4th. I was 3 days behind. So we went into stream, and I said, okay, guys, you were giving me my cue for Inktober. Let's catch up real quick. And we got to number 3. and somebody said a pumpkin beholder, and I was like, ooh, that's badass, because I love beholders. So we started sketching and started looking better, and everybody's like, go, keep going, don't go on to number 4. And I kept going, and I had just got sponsored by Reaper, and I was sitting here thinking, being a D&D nut myself, absolutely crazy about the game, love it. You know, Gary Gygax will always live in my eyes. He's always here. So rest in peace, my brother. But anyway, you know, something popped in my head. I would like to see this on a table, to face this as a monster. And then I was thinking, man, what about a reoccurring Halloween theme creature that is not, because he looks a little goofy, but goofy can be weird. Goofy can be terrifying. I mean, look at Mike Myers, look at Jason Voorhees, you know, look at Leatherface, all of them goofy sons of bitches, but they
Super
are
goofy,
terrifying. They will get you, and that's how I wanted the Overgord to be. I wanted the Overgord to be that terrifying goofy nut. You know, he might look silly, but he's gonna kill you. You know, and you know, it just it went to that, and it got into my head, and I was like, okay, somebody else would want to see this on a D&D table, so I said it out loud in chat. And next thing I know, before the end of the stream, Reaper had an email to me saying we approved it, and it'll be part of Reaper Kickstarter Bones 5. And I lost it. You know what I mean? How can you, like, I didn't even know what to say, you know? So right away, of course, I was telling everybody in the chat, and it's a huge thing. Overgord's a big deal for me. So
is that the first time anything like that has ever happened for you, or have you been designing minis for companies before?
Nope, that's the very first time anything like that's ever happened to me. Yeah, that was huge for me. So it still is very, very big. I'm very grateful to Reaper, very grateful. So
that's so exciting, man. Like I had no idea, because like, yeah, to me, like, and unfortunately probably to a lot of us consumers, like when we see 150 models in a Kickstarter, it all kind of just becomes like noise. Like at a certain point, you're like, okay, well, yeah, just like put literally everything in the kitchen sink in there. I don't give a shit. Give it to me now. I'll figure it out later. And the Overgord was definitely something that, especially with me and my group of friends, became something that, like, I didn't even know who you were yet. I didn't know that you streamed on Twitch. I was like kind of totally against Twitch the entire time up until like coronavirus.
Right.
And I have my reasons. It's mainly because I'm selfish. And I want you to talk to me, you know, instead of like talking to a group.
Hey, I'm a musician, okay? So I understand. I want the stage, buddy.
Yeah, right. It's so tough. Like, and I remember like trying to watch some of that stuff back in the day and be like, man, I like, especially like Shoshi, and people were like telling Shoshi what to do. I'm like, you don't fucking tell Shoshi.
Oh, you don't tell her. She's the reason I'm on Twitch, actually.
Really?
Yeah, she is the reason I am on Twitch. I love Shoshi to death. I consider her a very good personal friend. And when I followed her on YouTube, of course, and I came from YouTube before, but I was under Dismo Creations. Okay. So and this was a long time ago. And so I followed Shoshi, and I didn't know her, but I loved her painting. I loved her content. I just loved watching her. She was nice to watch, listen to, and learn from. And then when I heard her mention Twitch, I knew about Twitch, but I thought it was a video game platform.
Right.
So, you know, that's what I stayed away from it, because I have no interest in video games whatsoever, unless it's like RPGs or something like that. You know, it's got to be close to board games for me to get in, you know what I mean? Which is weird, but, you know, except for old school Nintendo, of course.
Dude, I've still, like, when I'm waiting for videos to render, I've got my little Nintendo Classic that I'll sit and play Punch-Out for.
I love you.
We're best friends now. We're best friends. This happened.
Will you marry me? No, but Nintendo's the way, you know, it's for sure. But what was I saying before that?
Shoshi, Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She mentioned Twitch. I thought video games. I'm like, nah, not for me. But it shows she's on it. It's got to be all right. So of course, I went over. There she was on Twitch. I'm like, well, and I was starting to stream, like just do live streams on Facebook, doing miniatures. So I'm like, screw this. I'm going to Twitch, and sure enough. So before I went live, I hung out for a little bit, got to know some people, got into some rooms and stuff. And then a couple of people remembered me from YouTube days. I had quite a few followers, and I was in some Google Plus hangouts with some pretty awesome people. So, and I've made some good connections back from my YouTube days. So, and I kept them, and keeping good friends. It's a good thing. Don't burn your bridges, people. Don't burn your bridges. Shake hands with people even when you don't want to, because you never know, that hand might help you out one day. So
Absolutely.
Watch what you say and who you say it to. But yeah, because of Shoshi, that's why I'm on Twitch, and I love her to death. That's another person I'll always have her back. Love Shoshi. Yeah.
She was one of my first interviews. Like, so I had Lynn Stahl come out like at full force in support of me interviewing people, and she didn't know who I was. I was like literally trying to how did this thing happen that I'm doing right now? And if it wasn't for Lynn Stahl, like I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't be making new friends around the world, and I wouldn't be like hopefully adding a good voice to the community, because it seems
you
like
already have. You've got a reputation for yourself. Not to cut you off, but I'll stop you right there. Everybody, I wouldn't be doing this interview. I'll tell you that right now. If I wouldn't have vetted you through my friends, and every single one of them, Heath, backed you.
Yeah. All right. All right. It's one of those things that, again, coming from the musician side of things, like we are like acutely aware of like causing ripples, like, and I don't want to ever do or say anything like, because like the music world will straight up fucking light you on fire until their careers fall out and you end up eventually like winning out in the long run. But for a little bit, like it sucks when you have like disrupted the music equilibrium. And so the last thing I wanted to do was have that happen here. And Lynn just was like straight up like, come on, baby bird, like I'm gonna talk to you.
That's Lynn
Stahl. Have a great time.
She is like Stahl, though. She's amazing. I've stayed in that woman's house with her husband. She's a very good friend. I love her to death.
Like a true leader, 100%. Like 100%. When you have those like moments of like leaders versus followers, she doesn't follow. Like she will carve a path, and that is something that I wish more people could understand, like how amazing that is.
She's the guide arm of your platoon is what she is. Right? She's the guide arm of your platoon. She's out there carrying that flag out in the lead. When she pivots, the rest of the group pivots. That's Lynn Stahl. She's a great instructor. She's a great woman. She is a great mom. She is just an absolutely fabulous person. And if people don't know who she is, you need to look her up. Metalhead Minis, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love her work. I love her personality, and she is so self-deprecating, and it's so funny because you're just like, you don't have to do that, but we all kind of do. I get it. But like out of all the people that I've met, she's the one that I like instantly was like, I need to talk to her again once I get better at this, because like there is a story here that I only like barely scratched the surface of. Like I am fascinated by her. So how did Twitch start for you back in the day? Like how long have you been doing Twitch? Because by now it's like you do this early morning Twitch stream that might as well be like me listening pre the having to change music stuff on Twitch. It was like me like driving to work, listening to the morning radio, hanging out with friends. Like it was like totally hitting me in the right spot. I was like, how the hell did this happen? This is amazing.
I appreciate it. That's not the first time. I've heard that quite a few times, that people they don't even watch me paint. They just listen to the music, come in, chill, and just listen to us bullshit and make fun of people, and And that's what I want. I just want people to be happy. There's no reason to be stressing out and be, this world is negative enough. And I've been a negative son of a bitch. Like I said, I can be a handful, but it's negative enough. Why do we have to keep it every day? If I can bring a little bit of sunshine into your life, that always helps me too. It cheers me up. Because every day there's some days I don't feel like turning on that camera and that microphone, and it's getting to me. The world's
Sure.
getting you down because either you had the news on last night before you went to bed like an idiot, or or you just you stubbed your toe. Whatever's going on in your life, there's always something going on, and if we can bring a little bit of joy to each other through our creativity and our artwork and a little bit of good music and some laughs, then that's a good way to start the day. I think.
Yeah, I was really amazed at your energy, because like that is like, I suck at mornings. I was so glad that you weren't like, I want to do this before my stream. Like I would have been like, I'm not going to bed tonight then, because
Right.
like I will be a turd on this interview.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that are in my stream that are like that. And when they say lurk, I'm like, okay, that's coffee. Still getting ingested.
Right.
Still servicing the body is what it's doing. So I understand. I try to be a little bit calm. I try not to unleash the demons till at least about 10 o'clock.
I don't think I've ever seen the Unleashed Demons, but
we used to be really bad, Heath. We used to
Did
be
ya?
real bad. We've calmed down a lot, let me tell you. We've calmed down a lot.
the one thing I did notice, and like I watching you this morning, I was happy that like you were sick last Friday, and I was sad to hear you not have that same amount of energy,
No.
and like your music wasn't the same, and I was like, oh god damn it,
Yeah,
this
sorry.
right here. This right here is like, it made me pull out all my music equipment. So I had this idea, is like, man, like I know Mike Disney doesn't want to do Twitch to what sounds like YouTube intro. Like I
No.
know that this is not what he wants to do. I was like, so if I can make some music, or make music with him, or do something with the community to help, like do something that is like copyright free, so all us art streamers can like have something fun to listen to. Like I shouldn't start a new project, but god damn it, after seeing that, I was like, I'm doing this. I have to do
Dude, I'm
this.
on it. You want to do something? I am more than happy to, man. I'll do vocals. I don't care what you want, man. I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it.
I love
Let's
it.
do it.
I love it.
We will have a band, Heath. We'll start it right now. Let's start it right now. We'll take votes on names. What's up, man? What's up? Let's do it.
I love it.
St. Louis, Detroit, meet together. Twitch, superstardom.
Well, I mean, like we're both from industry like abandoned communities. Like there is something to be said that like St. Louis is always trying to be Chicago, but St. Louis is actually more like Detroit, like as far as like a community goes. And when we went and hung out in Detroit for 4th of July weekend, which is the best time to be in Detroit, by the way, because all of you guys leave. Like, what is that about?
And we're just at the parks. We're not in the city,
right? Like we got full run of the art museum. There's that one parking structure that has all the graffiti art in it that we just like. We took a couple edibles. We went and like walked around downtown and looked at all the art and all the
Detroit's
sculpture.
actually a very art-driven community city. It's gorgeous. It really, really is. And right down there where you were by the DIA, that is the place, man. That is the place. You got the old Miami, one of the best freaking dive bars. Historic. I mean, White Stripes have played there. You name it, man. You've got Detroit legends have played. Everybody's played in that bar.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's been there forever.
We had Coney's. We like walked out to the giant pond and looked at Canada. Like we had this really uninterrupted day of Detroit, and it was it was beautiful. And I was like, this is like St. Louis. This feels like home. This feels comfortable to us. And it's so interesting that, you know, like as industry left and has gone up and down, like you're unfortunately your town has been hit by so many things, and musicians come and go. And, you know, like when like, and this is not a dig on, you know, ICP, but like the fact that ICP stayed and is just like, Detroit's our home and we're going to do as much as we can from there. Like, I think that that's like a really amazing like testament to your community there, you know. And Eminem same, you know, you're just like, these
Eminem's
guys
the
are
same. So is
right.
Robbie, Kid Rock. You know what I mean? Richie, all those guys, they all stay. If you're from Detroit, you come back home. You
Yeah.
stay. You know what I mean? It's it. You don't get you don't get starstruck here. You know where you're from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You get your ass kicked, you get starstruck. You know what I mean? You don't do that shit.
Yeah. Well, and it's really, I think that it's really cool. And so what was it like? Like, have you born and raised Detroit?
No.
No.
Nope, nope, nope. I lived in Pittsburgh for a long time. I was born in Florida. I've lived all over, actually. I came to Detroit after college. So
Okay.
I left college, left the Marine Corps, left college, and then came to Detroit, joined a band. That was it. Never looked back since then. And then back in '96, I think it was, moved to West Palm Beach, Florida. Met my wife, lived down there. Moved back to Detroit 8 years ago, 2013.
Okay, so you've been
So
back for a while now.
yeah,
I love it. I think that you know, my wife and I are very committed to St. Louis because like St. Louis is a town that has like it's, I mean, unfortunately got a lot of bad national press. You know, it's like you and I keep on trading
mm-hmm.
places as the most dangerous city in the
Mm-hmm.
nation, which is it's always really interesting because when you live here, it doesn't feel that way. You know, like it feels like a pretty creative, supportive place. But you realize that positive energy going into these communities actually makes stuff happen. Like I grew up out in Oregon, and being a nice guy out in Oregon was like, you know, it was like being, you know, a tear in the rain. You just disappeared. It didn't happen. It didn't matter. Here it matters, and I'm sure there it matters too. And so like it's really inspiring to see people like you be so you know, like so positive about what you're doing. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, thank you. I don't live in Detroit anymore. I used to live in Hamtramck. I live outside Detroit now.
Hamtramck.
Yeah, Hamtramck. That's Pole Town right there. It's
Yeah.
all Polish, but great food, great bars.
Yeah.
Really shit parking, but that's anywhere in the city though. Same with St. Louis.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I live south of Detroit now. I wouldn't live back in the city anymore. I love it. I go up there all the time, and I have several friends that still live up there, but there's no way I'd live back in the city again. It's just too crowded for me, too much. And
the property
and
value is going crazy right now there too.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like it used to be like, you know, we had some friends who owned property there that they were like, I think they bought their amazing house for like 30 grand. Like it was great. And they were just outside of Hamtramck.
Mm-hmm.
And they put like 2 years of work in it and decided that they wanted to start an apple farm out there.
Yeah.
And they managed to sell their house and buy an apple farm with money left over just in like the short period of time that they were in that house and the little bit of work that they did. Like it's cool seeing, you know, what has been referred to as a blighted town, you know, see a comeback like that and have it be that strong. So
yeah, well, there used to be memes. I don't know if you ever saw the memes on the internet, but like I'm 80 years old. The internet, they're on them cybernets. But you'd see these memes that would be like, it would show a picture of this rubbled building, and it would say, meanwhile in Iraq, and then it would say underneath, oh wait a minute, it's Detroit.
It's Detroit. Yeah.
And it would be, because it would zoom out and there'd be like graffiti on the side, you know what I mean? So, and yeah, it's just crazy. But
Yeah.
I love Detroit. I think it's getting cleaned up a lot, and it's not what it used to be back in the 90s.
Sure.
So it was a lot more dangerous back then. It's still dangerous, but it's a lot nicer now.
Yeah.
So especially when they tore down a lot of great bars like the Comet Bar to make way for the Little Caesars Arena, but at the same time they cleaned that whole area up. You know what I
Right.
mean? That was a real bad area. So
Well, and it's so weird because some of those buildings down there now, like they're still empty, and like the
Yep.
like gargoyles are falling off the roof because the people who own the buildings aren't actually putting the work in there. So
Don't
you're
have
like,
the money.
yeah, and you're like, this is like an amazing thing happening here, and then right next door there is like the
Turf.
just like it's and it's the same way here. Our downtown has the same issues. Like Ballpark Village has got all the money in the world, but if you want to do anything to help, like bring like a grocery store downtown where people can actually like, shop and do things, like no, like there's nothing there. It's really weird, these old cities.
Yeah, it is. Pittsburgh's the same way. I lived in Pittsburgh. I went to school in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
So, I love Pittsburgh. That's another city, real old city.
Isn't that where George A. Romero's from?
Yep, that's right.
Hell yeah.
That is exactly right. And there's a lot of good things back in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a great city. A lot of good music there. A lot of good food. You got the three rivers right there. Youghiogheny, Monongahela, and Ohio meet at the point. It's a great city. So all these northeastern cities, there's a lot of old history and blue collar product there that breeds a certain artist and a certain musician that you just don't get anywhere else in the world. It's a Great Lakes kind of vibe, kind of feeling it's a rare thing. And I'm glad to see a lot of it come around here. So
yeah, I played a music festival out in Cincinnati, which is an old steel town, and again, same things. Like it felt like I drove 11 hours to be back in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, no, I know that guy. I'm sure that the food there is awesome. And we had this amazing, electronic music festival there. And it was the first time like I had switched from playing guitar over to doing electronic music. And I was like totally floored by like the community that was there, and like the punk rockers that I knew back from home, like my crust punk buddies back from like high school and after high school were there. They were just different faces, but like it was the same people. And I love the idea that like, again, like the adversity breeds creativity. And and I think that that's something that, for me is really important. And, for moving forward with things like the murder basement and how I want to handle like the creative aspects of this project, like they are absolutely rooted in these like blue class cities. And and it's interesting to just kind of like thought experiment on.
Yeah. It's just goes back to saying what I was saying before. You got to dig deep to find gold, and definitely what you're doing, I think, is awesome. You're having people on that will give you a lot of different perspectives, on the same thing, and you'll learn a lot more. You'll get to learn about them. You'll get to learn about other outlets of the hobby, music, so on and so forth, where these people are from. I think what you're doing is awesome, and it's going to help out a lot of other people, like your viewers, get to know your guests as well, and that spreads the hobby around. What you're doing is great, Heath, is what I'm trying to say without diarrhea out of my mouth.
It's all right. So what's next for you? Because like con season's done. 2020 was canceled. we started this with
the double shit.
The double shit
really is taking its double shit all over, I think.
So, did you do much teaching before Warfare Weekend, or was that something that was kind of new to you?
No, that wasn't new to me. That was my first con that I've taught at, but I've taught before. I've taught small classes at game stores, and I've taught in my home privately as well. So I'm not new to teaching, and I've never really considered myself a teacher. Like I don't like these how-to. It's not that I don't like them. It's just not my style. You know what I mean? This is how I do it. I'm not gonna do a how-to because I want you to develop your way, your style, your technique. I'm not gonna. My way ain't the end all. My way ain't the beginning. I'm cutting off somebody else's tips, and just swung it to my speed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'll tune my guitar to this way and I'll play it on this level. You can do your guitar the way you want to. As long as we can jam together, then we're dope,
That sounds really good. Yeah. Because I've talked, Sam Lynn's, he had to completely redo his future. He was like, well, all of my money for the rest of the year is gone. How am I going to turn this around? Because, he had classes booked for the rest of the year in the cons. And so he started his Patreon and started pushing that really hard. Has coronavirus and all that have you had to shift anything, or has it just kind of more emboldened you in the stuff that you already do?
Well, I've been unemployed due to an injury for the last 2 years, so that really has emboldened me to do what I'm doing now. Corona was just like whatever, I'm stuck here already. I can barely walk as it is because of my injury. So Corona was really it affected me in ways where I'm not picking up commissions like I was, so it has affected me. But it did affect my classes too, because I had classes planned for Warfare Weekend again and Gen Con, and I was going to help out at Gen Con actually, and I had stuff going on for a couple other things too, and Corona really it took a damper and hit it. So what I have been doing is learning ZBrush, taking this time when I'm not working on my commissions to learn ZBrush. I also started a Patreon. I haven't been pushing it that much because I've been working with another sculptor to help me with my Patreon and help her with hers, so she's letting me use her sculpts for paint-alongs and stuff, and I really appreciate that. And it's going to help her out because people are going to see her sculpts, before she even releases her Patreon. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, her name's Christine Van Patten, actually. She's a sculptor for Reaper Miniatures and for Dark Swords. So she is an amazingly talented young lady. So
didn't you just paint one of her models on stream? The big woman was one of her pieces?
Yes. Not the big woman, the small dark-skinned ranger. Did you see her?
I don't know if I saw that one, but I remember the name sounds familiar, so I think you're probably talking about it.
She has this ranger has dreads, and the Skarn miniature that she did. That's
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So my D&D miniature, and that's an exclusive for me. She did that for me as a friend. I was like, wow, that was very kind of you. So and that's one of hers. And then I'm doing a paint along on my Patreon this month for a Cheshire cat, which is pretty much a Rakshasa from D&D, except the palm isn't upside down. So
nice.
She did her version. I like it. So, and that's what we're doing for that. So
that's really exciting. One of the things that I really like about your streams that you don't see everywhere, you do a lot of multi-streams with Zambies, which is really fun. She's got a great energy, and seeing you do illustration on stream is totally cool, and something that I never thought I would sit down and watch people illustrate and draw, and bust out their inks, and that stuff is wild to me.
It's therapeutic, right? Do you get a little bit of therapy out of it? It's kind of, to me, it's soothing. I don't know. What do you get out of it?
Well, I mean, like, I suck at all of that stuff. Like, when I look at what I do, my wife.
I love it when people say that.
My wife has this really amazing quote when she was taught when I was trying to first start painting, and I was trying to come up with logos for my band, and because like I wanted to, like, I have that mentality that, like, if you're gonna do something, you better have a logo, you better have a patch or something that people can, like, draw on.
You gotta market yourself. How are you gonna get yourself out there if nobody knows who you are?
Exactly. And if the imagery is enough to grab people, then it'll be great. And so, like, I'm painting, like, my whole thing was like an eye inside of a chaos star, but in its pupil is a peace sign, and like I'm painting this whole thing. And my wife walked up and she's like, "You got a really primitive style." And I was like, "Oh, that's such an awesome way to say I suck."
You know what? I think I like your wife.
She's great. She's so
sounds
good.
Awesome, man. I'm coming down to St. Louis. That's it, man. We're hanging out. That's cool. That's a way to motivate somebody in a very supportive way and still say you suck very kindly at the same time. That is awesome. That you live with an artist, my friend.
I do. She went to art school. Her mom was an art teacher. My business partner has a master's in studio sculpture. Like, I have surrounded my entire life with artists. If you're not a physical artist, you're a musician. If you're not a musician, you're a miniature painter. Like, I like creative people, even though I hate relying on them to show up on time to things. I need creativity in my life. And if you aren't producing, if you aren't making something, I don't understand what you're doing on this planet, because there's so much fun stuff to do here. And, like, not exercising that part of your brain atrophies, and eventually you just don't have much there.
If you're not using your creativeness, everybody's got something that they can do creative. If you're not using it, what are you doing?
Right?
What do you, I mean, honestly, but think about it. That's kind of deep, Heath. Think about it. If you're not using what God gifted you with, what you have, or whatever you believe, I don't want to,
Sure.
But if you don't use what's within yourself, what everybody knows what they can do. Everybody's got something. If you're not using it, what are you doing?
Right.
Not just wasting. You're causing a little negativity in yourself too, and that's never good.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because, like, I have one employee, and she has a bachelor's in print, and so she taught me how to monoprint stuff, and she doesn't want to do creative stuff anymore. I mean, like, luckily for, like, her, picture framing, that's what I do, and my day gig is a very creative thing. You're always constantly creative problem solving is the way that I just basically, that's all picture framing really is. And so you do kind of get some of that hit, but she just doesn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, I so want to see all these, like, crazy things that you've taught me, just by, like, talking about how to, like, use Mylar and ink to make monoprints, and, crazy things that I never would have tried. Like, I crave those conversations and those experiments, like, because, like you said, what are you doing on this planet? Like, if you aren't constantly pushing yourself or giving something creative back, like, you can't always just be the energy well, and maybe you're not a negative energy well, like,
you're a consumer of something, though. You're consuming something and you're not producing. And that's not good. That's selfishness. And come on now, you know what I mean? Share yourself, man. Share that stuff out there. Share what you got inside. People want to see it. Somebody wants to see it. I don't care who it is. Somebody wants to see it.
True.
Yeah.
That is, and, like, the thing is, like, I'm surrounded with a bunch of perfectionists, and I haven't really ran into the perfectionist aspect in miniature painting, because the fact that we're all, like, very much like, fuck it, we're just pushing paint on miniatures, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, like, who cares? Like, well, I'll do it again tomorrow. It's not like I've ruined anything. The idea of ruining something to a creative person is, it's all creation. Even if it's bad, it doesn't matter. It's something new. And so, like, my business partner who has a master's in studio sculpture, it is super hard for him to get creative because he is like terrified that he's not going to execute flawlessly his first time. And I'm just like, dude, get wet.
Have
the deep
fun.
end is great, man.
Well,
Like,
that's what
I
it's
love it.
about. It's about having fun. It's about diving in. And one thing about paint is you can paint over it.
Right?
For real. It is a material thing. It's not like you're painting your intestines. You know what I'm saying? You're not going for a good job. You know, I mean, you are. And there are perfectionists in the miniature world. I will say that 100%. When it comes to competition time, you wouldn't believe how crazy some of these nutbirds get. So
I believe it.
I'm one of those nutbirds too, but I don't do competitions. I understand. I'm not, calling everybody nutbirds before they, but it just, yeah, there are a lot of perfectionists out there. And, but for the most part, I think everybody does. It's just for the fun. Why? Well, James Wapple says, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Right. Right.
If it ain't fun, then don't do it.
And he is like, when you watch him paint, it is so stream of consciousness the entire time. It's just like, I do this thing and it looks amazing. Like it feels like zero effort is that he's a person that I'm interested in talking to because I know almost nothing about him. It's all brand new to me. Like if it wasn't for Twitch,
following him a long time. I've been a Wapellian for many, many years, young man.
Really?
Many years. Oh, over 10 years.
Okay.
He's been painting professionally 20 miniatures. He's been painting 20. And when he put out, it was a game from Come On Minis, and it was Rivet Wars, was one of his very first tutorial video series that he did. And I remember when he did that, and that's one of the very first things I saw him with. So however many years ago that was, that's when I started with James Wapple.
Wow.
Because I found him, and I've followed him ever since, and I've followed his wife, and I've loved them, and I've always commented on their stuff, and they knew who I was, and because replying and stuff, and me being such a hardcore fan of his, and then finally I got to meet them at Adepticon. They were sitting right in front of me and didn't even know that I was right there. They were all talking because it was Lynn Stahl, Yedgy from Snickernack Studios.
Man, Yedgy's great. I love her.
Yedgy's awesome. Love her to death. It was her, Yedgy, and James Wapple just got done teaching all day. His throat was sore, and Kathy was sitting with one of her college friends. I think it was her old roommate, and they were all talking. And I was sitting in a chair charging my phone, just taking it all in because I knew who all of them were. All of them. And they didn't, and I've come, and I knew they knew who I was, but they'd never met me. You know what I mean? I just been in the forums and commented and stuff, And then here comes Ryan Meigs, Useless Wizard. Bump, 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 bump. Mike Disney, how are you doing? And as soon as he said my name, Yedgy, James, Kathy, and Lynn, all, Mike Disney, what's up? You didn't say nothing. Yeah, I'll sit right there. Stop their That's how nice those guys are, though. They're all superstars having this huge conversation with each other. I'm this nobody, just this guy typing in the forum, sitting there. Ryan comes in, yells my name, and they all turned to come and meet me. And then we took a picture. I got it on my Facebook. But that was, to me, that was everything. Because I love James and Kathy. I'm a huge Wapellian, huge fan of those guys. So I always praise that guy every chance I get.
It's so cool. And like, I think that is the best part of this onion of the hobby is that like you can surface just like watch the Warhammer things and learn how to paint a Space Marine and whatever. But like all it takes is just a little bit of effort to like expose, more and more layers.
Digging for that gold.
Dig for the gold. It's so good. And I mean, I'm sure that there's some turds. I haven't ran into any of them. I'm very fortunate about that. And I know one day it will. And whether or not it's just
You'll find them.
It'll happen. Yeah. But everybody who is creative in this medium, we all seem to have like a pretty similar core value style. And it's so altruistic and it's so like within reason, if whatever we can do to help and better someone is absolutely worth it. And
Absolutely.
it's been so humbling, because I mean, music can be completely alienating. It can be the exact opposite of that, and which it shouldn't ever be. But coming from like the Portland music scene, just south of Portland, nobody shared songs because like the Decemberists made it big, and everybody thought that like you were going to steal their song, and like if you didn't have a violin player in your band, you probably sucked. And we were like doing like, we were like if the Dwarves were on PCP, like it's like
goodness,
super fast punk. Yeah, right.
Wow, that is you're name dropping right there. Now that's that out of the miniature community. You mentioning a rare band like that is you just went up like a few echelons right there with me, buddy.
Oh man, I still have Blood, Guts, and Pussy on vinyl.
Oh goodness, that stuff we can't show that terms of service.
Not anymore. And I got, man, like I come from that like I was born in the wrong generation. Like I should have been born like 10 years earlier or something. Yeah. But like I'm thrilled that I had the upbringing that I did, because I came out of the era that still went to the library to research things, but also got to see the birth of the internet be like how we move forward. So I feel really fortunate to have that intersection of, technology and creativity, because like we were Xeroxing all of our flyers and stuff still when we first, like Photoshop wasn't a thing. Like we were still doing it the punk rock way. Yeah.
The pain, and that way was money too. If you didn't have a job, man, you weren't getting flyers out.
No.
It was expensive, like 10 cents a copy or something like that to get shit done, man. You're trying to pave the east side before the show, just that was. You're taking an all afternoon,
I had
edibles.
Right? I had a friend who started a whole business like posting flyers in Austin, Texas. Like that is what he did, because he got fired and he's like, well, I need to put this band thing up. And he started calling his friends and they're like, hey, can you put ours up too? It's like, sure. And so he canvassed for like 5 different bands in Austin and made a pretty decent living out of it. Like managed to sell his business and move here to St. Louis. And I was like, wow. I'll be damned. That's
just for posting flyers. Yeah,
just
man.
Posting flyers. Good. Yeah, which I don't know if that's a thing that happens anymore.
No. I mean, there honestly, man, I haven't seen a telephone pole littered with flyers in a long time. You can still see the staples and the remnants of some, but you can see. I mean, it's not something you want to get your face graded on. I'll tell you that. Seen that happen outside of a bar once. That was ugly. But Detroit.
Yep. It's
St. Louis.
It's how it goes.
That's what I got. Rock and roll.
Shit.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. Oh man. Well, Mike, we've very easily talked over an hour here.
Yeah, and you asked a question too about where else I was going. I totally totally was answering you, and we got off on another tangent. One thing I did want to bring up, I wasn't forgetting, but you mentioned Zambies, and I want to talk about her for a second. She is an incredible young lady, very talented, and we do our illustrative streams, and one of the things that we are working on is a coloring book and / art book. So all of those illustrations that you see that we've been doing are going into a book for the community. And we also have a very special project that we're going to be doing for somebody that's suffering from cancer and having some trouble with his bills and stuff. So our next illustrative stream is going to be dedicated to him, and the art piece is going to be related to what he's going through. So, and we're going to try anything that we do with that stream is going to go for him and his bills.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, like, and that again, like, I just totally misjudged the Twitch community. Like coming from a video game background, like I knew video gamers, and they are not they are not the best people at times, and so
pretty toxic.
yeah, it's pretty bad, pretty quick.
Pretty bad.
And then you see like I remember, I think the first thing that I watched you, like I said, I'm super new to this, like you guys were doing like inspired by the song, and you were doing a Clutch song and she was doing a Tool song, and I was just watching this thing, and I kept on switching back and forth on the streams. And I know you could go to like the multi-stream page and all that, which is fine, but there's something about like seeing how each stream is handling like individually, like that I just kind of loved. And that was it was exciting to see, and that's when I was like, oh my God, he's doing a drawing based off of a Clutch song. I was like, man, like,
are you a Clutch fan?
Hell yeah.
Oh God, now we're definitely best friends. This is great right here. This is great. This is where it's at. I've partied with Clutch, and let me tell you, those guys are something else, man.
Are they really?
Oh, they are something else. They are amazing musicians and amazing people. When I say party, I don't mean like woohoo, getting crazy. I mean, of course we were having fun, but it's talking, and the bass player is amazing, man. What a great guy. He was feeding me shots of Jaeger just because I had on an Iron Maiden Killers t-shirt. That's a cool shirt, man. You want to do a shot of Jaeger? Hell yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I love your music. Thank you.
Yeah. There's this like I worked in a record store for about 2 years after high school, and that was like my favorite job that I've ever had, with a quasi abusive boss, like very nice guy. We get along now, but like at the time I didn't know how to delineate a line of like, like you cannot tell me like you can't stop me from having my fun. Like I'm gonna be in these bands. I'm going to be a voice of positive reason for your shop. And like that's when I got into Clutch. That's when I heard Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds for the first time, and it changed my life. I was
he is life changing. He is life changing. Not a lot of people know about good old NC. You know what I mean? That guy is life changing. It's transcending, really, to tell you the truth.
The first time I heard Let Love In, like, and I've got goosebumps right now. We're having an ASMR cast of like two dudes talking music. But like I was just like, what the hell is this? And I remember like digging through, like, because we had a 100-disc changer in the store, and it just would like play random stuff all day long. And like I went and I found it, and then I pulled that out and I listened to the whole album beginning to end while I alphabetized the entire store. And I just was like, this is the best music I have ever heard in my entire life.
That's a great feeling when you find something and nobody else turns you on to it. You find it. That's when you know. And then when you find out how much people are into it, it makes you feel like you just joined a brotherhood that was kind of secretive and really fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, you know that your own coolness when you discover music like that, and you see how awesome it, you know what I mean? That's a good feeling, is it not? That's a good feeling.
Is. It's a wonderful feeling. I mean, that's how I found the Dirt Bombs, which hail from Detroit, and and then I was like looking up every Mick Collins project, because he there's video of him online playing with a little Jack White playing drums for him, probably before Jack White had taken his wife's name. Like, it was early, like White Stripes weren't a band yet, and here's Mick Collins, like probably 10 years older than him, like, we're gonna play this like garage rock song, and of course it was like real sloppy and bad. And then within the next year, the White Stripes are the biggest thing on the planet, and the Dirt Bombs are doing Smokey Robinson covers and stuff. It was like such a cool thing to find, and like I love it. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, White Stripes, man. I have a friend that was in a band Old Miami again. This is a story, a White Stripes story actually. White Stripes opened up for them. I guess they had another person that was in the band at the time that wasn't showing up, so he asked to borrow gear, and his car got stolen that night. My buddy's car got stolen. They were all outside talking in front of the Old Miami, and my buddy goes to him. He's like, "Hey, John." Or Jeff, isn't that your car going right there? And sure enough, there's people driving by with his car, door kind of all janky and shit. He's like, "That's my car, man." They all started laughing. Detroit.
Yeah, you just said that point. You're like, well,
I mean, and that is back then. It was a shit neighborhood too, you know. But the DIA is right there. The Art Center is literally, you can see it from the Old Miami.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally the next block down. And that neighborhood is pretty bad.
It's amazing, and I, again, like back to the art stuff, like Detroit has so much cool public art, and was like thrilled to be able to see, like the Diego Rivera fresco there is unbelievable. And
man.
his sculptures that he did around there was just fantastic. And you're just like, this is for the public. It's here. You can just go and enjoy it.
Walk up, have your picture taken right next to it. Yeah, it's amazing. When you put that, I was like, okay, this is a guy that knows Detroit. This isn't, he doesn't even live here. That's another thing that you got a little respect from me. And anytime you ever want to come back to Detroit, you don't have to get a hotel. You got a place to stay, you and your wife. You're more than welcome.
Hell yeah. Though that we were right now, we're on vacation. It's our 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
That's
we
awesome.
were going to be in Detroit this week, and then coronavirus happened, and we just decided that it was not going to be the time to do it. And so I was like, I'm booking interviews. Like, we're hanging out. We're eating donuts for dinner tonight. It's gonna be great.
Well, you're in Detroit this week. You're in my heart right now. So I mean, we're south of Detroit, let's face it. But still, you're in
Detroit.
the region.
I'm in the zone. It's fine. Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, I live in the city, but like, I'm not downtown.
Yeah. Well, hell no. You don't run fast enough for living downtown, man. Come on.
I like to have a little bit of peace and quiet in my life, and downtown is a little rambunctious.
Downtown St. Louis is something else. I know. I am no stranger to St. Louis. I've been there several times. It's gateway to the west, right?
It's very weird from like growing up in Oregon to ending up here. It's like I did the reverse Oregon Trail. So
Oregon. But yeah, thank you, Heath, for having me on, man. This is
absolutely, man.
Great. We didn't even talk that much about Detroit music, man.
We're gonna do this again.
We're
gonna do this again,
and we have to talk about music too, because let's do something.
Yeah, I've already got a couple ideas on how to make music work for us streamers, and like it all came out when I heard Eenie Meenies say, "Listen here, you sassholes," or something to that effect on her stream. And I was like, I want to have a song that is like the sample of, like just her kind of berating her audience just a little bit. And I was like, God damn it, there's an idea here. Something's brewing. Like, if you just got to figure out what it is.
You could really get some good clips. There's I could steer you to a lot of good funny people, let me tell you. A lot of good people. I got some clips. Jan, man, he's a gold mine. He is a nugget heaven for good clips for songs, man. That guy.
Oh yeah.
That Genuine Vision.
Yeah, I haven't spent much time on his stream, but he just made partner, and that's really exciting.
He is amazing. I can't speak good enough about him. He's great, and another streamer, Flickster, another great guy. I wish he was back around. I heard he might be coming back. I hope he does. You get a chance to meet him. That is a ball of British energy right there. Let me tell you, huge. I love that guy to death. A lot of fun.
Nice. Well, I definitely will keep an eye out for everybody, and I thank you for welcoming me into your house and your heart. We will be great friends for forever.
Oh, definitely. Good music, man. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for having me on. And anytime you need me back, you let me know. If you need anything, Heath, anything at all, please let me know. I'm here to help, man. I love to help. And you got good vibes, man. You got good taste in music too. The Dwarves. Oof, you got me on that one. You hit me. That hit my soul, bro.
Yeah.
Now, if you mentioned Flipper, I'd be hanging up and coming to see you, personally.
Dude, so I dated this woman, and I was 19 and she was 37. And because I had long dreads and a huge beard, she thought I was like 30, and I thought she was like in her late 20s, like we didn't know. And so we hung out because we had the exact same music tastes. And one night she made a patch. She was like hand embroidering patches while we were like drinking and watching movies. And she made a patch that says, "Hey man, Flipper still rules." And I was just like, "Did you just make a Flipper patch?" And she's like, "Hell yeah!" And I was just like,
"Did you know who Flipper was, though?
I
Or
did,
did you
I
think
did.
it was the TV show?"
No, I knew,
Okay.
I knew, and that was
Flipper.
one of those where I was like, "I'll be damned, I am in the right group of people."
Yep.
So
Henry Rollins was scared shitless of Flipper. He says that in an interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Flipper was really mean, man. Those guys were supposedly really, really mean.
Well, I mean, and there was like that whole era of music. It was not like what it is now. It was very
No.
dog eat dog, and like
Violent.
very violent.
Violent.
Yeah.
Very violent.
Do you listen to podcasts ever?
Not really, no. But
there's
if you're going to suggest a good one, let me know.
There's this one right now that one of the guys from last podcast on the left, him and his wife do, called No Dogs in Space. They did their first episode on the first series on the Stooges. They're doing like 70s punk rock. Right now they're talking the Slits, which I love the Slits.
Oh my goodness.
The stories that they tell about like the shows, and from like firsthand account, I'm like, God damn, we were a tough group of kids, but like people were getting stabbed at those shows.
Okay. You know what? Before you leave, I need you to get a pen and a piece of paper where you're going to record this, so it doesn't matter. I need you to mark my words. I'm going to give you some great bands from Detroit that you need to look up and listen to. Now, these are underground bands, and one of them that I am going to name right now would have replaced Nirvana if they would have been discovered at the same time. I'm telling you right now. And that's Feisty Cadavers. And Steve Crass, rest in peace. I love you, brother. I wish you were still with us. That was the lead singer. The guy was amazing. But look up Feisty Cadavers. That you will be a fan forever. Busby's Death Chair. Cold as Life, which are my homeboys, 100%. No More, obviously. Sure. Hillside Stranglers, great band. That's got a lot of feel. You'll hear a lot of Dirt Bombs in that music right there.
Cool.
West End, another great band. The Goddammits, the Beer Whores, Pure Bastard Extract, one of my favorite bands from back in the day. That band was amazing. I used to play with the guitar player from that band. Used to be two of the guitar players actually in that band used to be in my band, Punch and Wipe. So we used to play with them all the time. That is a band. Really, really good stuff. Now, this is all garage, hardcore punk. It's raw. The recordings sometimes are not the best, but let me tell you, the music's there. You'll feel it, and you'll get that Detroit edge. So enjoy, especially Feisty Cadavers and Cold as Life. That's real dirty hardcore, though, man. Right there. That's Crooked Edge 100%. So
That sounds good. I always love a good music thing. I've got a bunch of on my streams when I paint, before I had to change my music. I would just like do whatever I wanted to listen to. So I was doing Cramps Radio on Spotify, and which would take you in really fun places. And I was just talking. Half of my fans, we don't actually paint. We just talk music the entire time. And so I know this interview will hit them a little harder because we all love digging. We love it. A good
You're
band.
gonna find some gems, trust me. And just by googling those bands right there, I'll get you the music, Keith. You know, but just by googling that, so you're gonna find more stuff,
more cool stuff.
So Detroit is. I mean, it's Detroit Rock City. It's got the name for it for
Hell
these people.
Yeah.
So, look those up. You won't go wrong. Trust me. Get back at me. Then I'll give you another list of bands.
All right. I'm down with it. Mike, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Are you kidding me? It's been a great time, man. This is a way to end a Friday night for me. You know.
Hell yeah.
Start one off, honestly. So thank
right?
you. Thank you very much. We got to do this again.
We absolutely will. Mike, thank you so much. Make sure you hop on Mike Disney's streams. He hits it early in the morning if you are on the West Coast, and it's always good. It's always a good time. So, thank you so much, buddy. Have a nice rest of your night, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely, brother. Okay, take care, man.
All right, see you, bud.
Right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. I so appreciate your support. If you want to see more hobby content, hop on over to twitch.tv/Heath Aldrich to see all of your fun hobby content streaming whenever I get a free chance. If you like listening to these episodes in more of a podcast form, I should be on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure that you like and subscribe to me there. If you can, leave me a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. Have a nice rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you soon.